All right, y'all, welcome to the show. Thursday, August 18th. So I'm going to lead here in just a second with Fox News running cover for Trump at a level that is now beyond comical. Do you guys remember, it wasn't that long ago that there were articles about how Fox News is sort of divorcing itself from Trump a little bit at the direction of the Murdochs? And that did appear true. He wasn't on the network for over 100 days. They started to slowly sort of pivot away from him and build up DeSantis. But, you know, with this FBI raid, boom, all of the hosts sort of flipped on a dime. Because, you know, what the Murdochs need to understand is all those hosts are uncontrollable. And of course they're going to play defense for their guy. And so I actually don't think the executives like the fact that a lot of these hosts are saying the things that they're saying. But recently we've seen a face turn from Steve Doocy, who's been arguing with Brian Kilmeade. He appears to be, you know, at least tepidly in favor of the FBI raid. So I'm going to lead with a crazy Fox News story in just a second. I also have some devastating news about Afghanistan and the Biden administration's posture to that country in the wake of the withdrawal, which was almost exactly a year ago. And then Ted Cruz shatters the hypocrisy meter. I mean, this is just mind-blowing stuff. You have to see that story. And we have a new study out on what they're calling the extreme heat belt in the U.S. that is coming because of climate change. So, yikesies to say the least. Okay, so let's take a look here. This is in Mediaite. Will Cain says basis for Trump raid, quote, better be more than the nuclear codes. Perino walks back saying codes would be enough. I mean, this is almost like a parody of what Fox News would say. But they actually say it. So, all right, let's go ahead and watch the clip and dissect it here.
Since I guess a week tonight is when the search warrant was, we found out about the search warrant. I don't know if we actually know all that much more because honestly, it is a little bit hard to keep up with. It was these documents, then they're not. They're nuclear, but they're not. But they're this, and then they're not. And it's, I think, Greg and I were talking in the green room, like, it's kind of hard to figure it out. And then it's like...
No, that's not true. Here's what it's about. We know exactly what it's about. Gathering, transmitting, or losing defense information, which carries a penalty of up to 10 years in prison. Concealment, removal, or mutilation generally, which carries a penalty of up to 3 years in prison. And disqualification from holding office. That part is questionable because that might be unconstitutional. Destruction, alteration, or falsification of records in federal investigations and bankruptcy, which carries a penalty of up to 20 years in prison. That's exactly what it's about. That's what it's about. So for her to, who knows? Nobody really knows. We're hearing things over here. We're hearing things over there. Whoa. That's just a dodge to try to not criticize something that you obviously should be criticizing.
Well, we got to just basically, I don't know, I'm not losing interest in it at all. I'm just kind of frustrated about not having any information.
But I think it will stay in an intentionally ambiguous place, a blank slate.
Again, this is not ambiguous. Their whole premise is dead wrong. It's not ambiguous.
Serves the FBI and the DOJ's purpose of finding anything. I agree with Andy McCarthy that it is a fishing expedition. We'll never see the probable cause affidavit that you referenced. I think you're right about that, Dagan.
Because in a criminal investigation, it's only released if there are charges. We're not there yet.
That would require specificity. And if that's the case, then they would be boxed into us understanding what it is they went in looking for. It's not truly about declassified materials or classified materials. It's not.
That's exactly what it's about. That is literally exactly what it's about. This is not some sort of open question. Guys, you know the timeline of events. You know the FBI went to Mar-a-Lago in June and said, please, Mr. President, sir, can you turn over these classified and top secret and super duper top secret documents? We need them. You can't have them. He goes, oh, sure, no problem. I'll do that. Then he turns over some of them. They know it's not all of them. And then Trump has his lawyer send a note saying, no, I handed over all of them. And then they were like, okay, we're left no choice. We have to do a raid. And Fox out there like, this is classified documents? This has nothing to do with classified documents. I don't even know what you're talking about, bro.
Not even really about the Espionage Act, which, by the way, can encompass and does in the statute very minor grievances, like not giving in.
The Espionage Act being used against people like Edward Snowden and Julian Assange is preposterous. Preposterous. And they're being persecuted for being whistleblowers and telling the American people things that they should know. Donald Trump, first of all, the Espionage Act, it's not the provisions of the Espionage Act of like, oh, he's a spy. That's not what they mean when they say there are certain things in the Espionage Act that are potential crimes that Donald Trump committed. It just means exactly what I told you right here. These are the things that are in the warrant. Now, the difference is Snowden and Assange were releasing information that should have been released. Whereas with Trump, if some of the classified documents are names and salaries of our spies, well, that's different. That shouldn't be released. Nuclear information, that's different. That shouldn't be released. This isn't that hard, guys. But they're just playing defense for their boy, and that's very, very obvious.
Information over to the National Archives. Not that you're a super spy with the nuclear codes, but you just didn't simply comply with the National Archives. It's not about any of that. It is a blank slate that allows the DOJ to find something, anything, to disqualify Donald Trump from running for president. Either disqualify him in a long, drawn-out legal case that ends up at the Supreme Court, or simply in the American public's mind. And if that's the case, to your point, Dagan, it better be egregious. It better be more than the nuclear codes, which, let's be real,
it better be more than the nuclear codes. By the way, the charge is not even that it's the nuclear codes. The charge is that it's nuclear documents, nuclear information. It doesn't have to be the codes. It's more like it's a step below that, which is, I don't know, maybe how to make nuclear weapons properly or things of that nature. And that is what Saudi Arabia has been seeking, which is why there's speculation that, hey, why did Saudi Arabia give $2 billion to Jared Kushner? Why did they give, allegedly $100 million to Trump to have a Saudi golf tour event at one of his courses? So it doesn't have to be the codes. But he's saying, look, even if it is the codes, maybe that's not enough. And he's going to go on to say, well, because they change the codes and stuff, bro, so who cares?
Change when an administration changes. It better be egregious.
They change regularly, right? I was kidding the day that I said that about nuclear codes. That's not like you don't write them on a scrap of paper.
I do.
But Greg does.
That's why you don't have them, Greg.
Your nuclear codes are having to deal with something else.
Yes.
Okay. She said, Dana Perino just said, I was kidding when I said this better be about the nuclear codes. I'm going to show you the video. You tell me if you think she's kidding.
I don't understand how a document can be this critical. Unless it has...
Now wait, you don't understand how a document can be this critical. Weren't you one of the people who you were losing your mind over Hillary Clinton's emails? But now all of a sudden, any particular document, it's not that critical. So then why did you care about the emails, which had classified documents in it? No, you cared back then. Now, by the way, the difference is I'm consistent on this. I supported the FBI investigation of Hillary Clinton, and then when they announced there are no charges, I said, that's stupid. You just listed the crime she committed. Charge her. They are not consistent. Now, again, let me run it back because you're going to tell me if she was joking with these comments here.
A document can be this critical. Unless it has... You want the picture... You're saying if it has a picture of Putin and Trump making out?
Yes.
Short of the nuclear codes being written on these documents in a locked behind closed doors, I just really don't understand how a document could warrant this kind of warrant.
That wasn't a joke. She was trying to say, look, a raid of a former president is overkill. The only way I could understand it is if, nuclear codes were involved. Well, it looks like it's not nuclear codes, to be fair, but it may be nuclear documents. And all of a sudden, I was kidding, bro. Obviously, even if you find nuclear documents or nuclear codes, that's also good, too. Would Dana Perino defend Barack Obama or Joe Biden if they had nuclear codes or nuclear documents and then they were raided by the FBI? Of course not. Of course not. And by the way, one of their dodges has been, Trump's dodge has been, Obama took 33 million records or some ridiculous number like that. And the National Archives came out and said, that is categorically untrue. And we know. We have them. It had to do with, documents about Obama's library. He doesn't have any documents, Obama. So that's just a total dodge. But look at where we're at now, guys. Look at where we're at now. It goes back to that famous thing Donald Trump said when he ran the first time. I could shoot somebody in the middle of Fifth Avenue and I wouldn't lose any voters. Well, that's not exactly right. It is true that his base will never, ever leave him. But, oh hell yeah, he lost independents, he lost moderates, he lost the 9% of Democrats who voted for him in the 2016 election. But it's almost like the more ridiculous he is, the more insane he is, the more Fox News defends him. And they end up saying stuff like, this better be about more than nuclear codes, bro. I mean, what's a little nuclear code larceny? Know what I'm saying? Know what I'm saying? No, we don't. Nobody does. Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop. And watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.